The microphone. Test. Okay. Okay. Everybody ready? Commentator ready? No. Okay. But everybody else is ready, so let's do it. Simona ready with the typing? Excellent. Standing by for the countdown. Last stage, here we go. What do they call that? Is that the Forbidden City that we see in the shot? What do they call it? Is that the secret bloody...
You see the Forbidden City
Tiananmen Square. From the helicopter. That's Tiananmen Square. Eh? Phone's off. I don't know about that one. I don't know whose that one is. I don't know whose it is. Okay.
Here we go, Phil.
Okay. Hello and welcome to Tiananmen Square, the scene of the start of the final stage of the World Tour 5-day Tour of Beijing cycle race, and the riders set to cover 117 kilometers. The fans are out in downtown Beijing, the capital of the People's Republic of China, as the riders now make their way to the nearby Bird's Nest Piazza for the finish of this 5-day event. Beautiful sky, warm as the weather gets warmer during the day, finishing rather like it started 5 days ago beneath blue skies. The riders signing in for the last time and looking quite relaxed. Kenny van Hummel, the Dutchman, on Bacon Soleil as we see the riders signing. Marco Pinotti, the Italian rider, signing in for the last time in a major international cycle race. He retires at the end of this day after 15 seasons at the top. Ivan Basso signing in for his teammate there as well, the leader and winner of the King of the Mountains, Damiano Caruso. Dan Martin, who climbed up into second place, the Irishman, yesterday on Garmin Sharp after the battle of the Miaofeng Mountain. And the new leader after the race yesterday when he won the stage to the top of the first ever mountain finish there, Benyat Nzausti. Gonzalez having his own signature there as he signs in. Well, I hope he can work it out. There's the Movistar team here on their daily round of camaraderie as they do sign in. Number 121, Rui Costa, the world champion. And after yesterday, sitting fourth overall in this race. The green jersey on the shoulders, the man who led the race for 2 days, Nasser Boyani. Costa, the champion of the world, and his teammate there on his right, Jesus Herrada, the champion of Spain. So the rundown for the last stage, stage number 5, ending 835 kilometers of racing around the area above and north to Beijing city itself. It's a fairly simple one. It's 21 kilometers pedal to the circuit, which is covered 12 times of an 8-kilometer finishing lap, making a total today on this last stage of 117 kilometers and totally flat, of course. As the pistols fire, the world champion looks across, a little bit reticent to roll out. Team Movistar, of which Costa is a member, took over control of this race yesterday with Nzausti. Now for him it should be a formality as they roll away. No hills, nowhere to challenge his lead. It's only 10 seconds overall over Dan Martin, but that should be enough, even though there is a 10-second bonus, as always, for the rider who wins the stage. 6 for second, 4 for third. In theory, it could alter on the last day, instead it will give us a better chance to look at some of the iconic monuments of the city of Beijing as we race now to Olympic Park. The race finishing in the shadow of the National Stadium, which we commonly know as the Bird's Nest Stadium, which was built for the 2008 Olympic Games, and the water cube on the other side of the highway. Looking quite relaxed, Benrat Insausti, while the green jersey here, worn by Buani, well, he won't be so relaxed because this is a big stage for him. He's won 2 stages in the sprint. The chances are that the 3rd stage will come in the sprint as well. Field rolling away as they leave Tiananmen Square now, heading out onto the course itself. It's a ride as they go west. We're riding up from the south of the city to the north where the Olympic Park is. We cover some 11 square acres of land, and it's quite a hazy tranquility some of the time.
发展为自行车强国。我们希望这一天早日到来。
Will be in action again, an international football match taking place.
那么今天我们的比赛呢，将从我们现在身处的天安门
passing the Forbidden City as the riders head out onto the ring roads, racing now towards the finishing circuit itself. They'll get to the finishing line and then they will have 12 circuits to complete. Breakaway getting clear again right from the gun, starting to work away from the field. Everybody willing to chase all the moves at the moment, not surprisingly. George Bennett, the New Zealand rider on Team Radio Shack there. A little bit of a problem early on here for Insausti, and his whole team has gone back to make sure they've guided him back through the cars and up to the race. Temporary hiccup, making sure that their leader stays in the thick of the action. Now as we head towards Bird's Nest Stadium for the first time, we go off to the right here and up the other side. These riders getting a lead: Pinotti, Kaizen, Meyer, Burrow and Fletcher. And Juan Antonio Fletcher and Marco Pinotti, both riders, and they're the 2 riders at the back of these 5 riders at the moment, so they get the first time check of about 1 minute and 20 seconds, are retiring at the end of this race. Pinotti starting his campaign in 1999 as a professional, and Fletcher, top Spanish rider, he started a year later in 2000. Both riders have had a very distinguished career, and they've chosen the Tour of Beijing as their last professional race. Team Movistar, this is to be expected, driving at the front, and this opening 21 kilometres of racing to the finish line, which they will then complete the laps, has been averaged at 52 kilometres an hour. So Movistar really turning on the star here to keep that breakaway in touch. Pinotti himself is only 41 seconds off the overall race leader as far as time goes, and with a lead of 1 minute and 20 just now, obviously he's the virtual leader of the Tour on the road, and they'll have noted that as they drive the race at the front. Last time we finished on the circuit, it was the opening stage a year ago, and it was won by Elliot Viviani. Viviani is in the race again today. He hasn't been sprinting quite as well as he has in the last race, but 2 stages previously, but nothing this week for him. Pinotti driving on here. Juan Antonio Fletcher with him. Fletcher himself was one of the few Spanish riders who could master the Northern Classics of France and Belgium in the chilly month of that of April. The Spanish don't like riding the spring classics. It's too cold and wet, horrible road circuits. Fletcher was a master of them. Pinotti himself is a great time trialist, 6 times the champion of his country, and the current time trial champion of Italy as well. And willing to work. Quite a lot for him to gain here, and the words of Team BMC last night when people were saying, well, the race is finished now and the victory will be going to the Spanish rider, it was Team BMC who was saying, watch out, it's not over yet. And clearly they had a plan. Pinotti has gone in the breakaway. So we're looking here at Fletcher, and he's just keeping control of the race. The sun is out, it's looking very, very pleasant. We head up towards the finishing circuit now for the first time, 2 kilometres to what will be the finish, but there's still 12 laps to go. The gap continues to open, 1 minute and 35 seconds. little bit of mist in the hills. That's where the riders are racing now for 4 days. Up ahead of them in the north, where the mountains abound, to the north, northwest and west of Beijing. Beijing, the city itself, sits on the plain. Peloton are really flying over the ground just now, but the leaders are already up towards the finishing line here for the first time. This average speed exceeding 52 kilometers an hour, the fastest start we've seen. People have a chance to view the Beijing traffic on a Tuesday morning, but it's like that every day of the week in Beijing. The city home to 21 million people. So heading up through Olympic Square here, which is where we saw the riders coming through in the Olympic Games as well. They made their start from here and went out into the hills of Bagalin, looking down on the Olympic green. Swinging down to the right, circumnavigating the famous Olympic Stadium, which was finished 2 years ahead of schedule, ready to go in 2019. Spectacular opening ceremony with us too. Minute 41, the gap continuing to go up with a good piece of riding by the boys up front, but it's early days. Show the Olympic wings for posterity. And not too far away from the Olympic wings here, there's a famous wall now with all of the medal winners engraved on it. It's the wall on the side. Oliver Kaizen, who was in the second day breakaway, tried desperately to win the stage, got wiped out with a lone escape just 8 kilometers from the finish. It wasn't great. That's the boy winning the Dutch sprint for 2 days. Now the red jersey on the shoulders of the Spanish rider in Saudi, and he's surrounded by his teammates. There's some seriously concentrated faces on the riders here at these sort of speeds. In the green jersey of points leader, that's given to the motor assistant rider on the daily finishes. Sprint King. And that's a little look now for the first time at the finishing straight here for the riders. And as you can see, it is again a sprinter's delight. But at the moment, the little matter of catching up with the 5 riders who are waiting for no one. They're pulling away from the field just now. Blue jerseys of Garmin Sharp, the team of Dan Martin, who started this race as the pre-race favourite to win it. He played his cards yesterday, but he was outclimbed just to the finishing line by Benyat Insausti. Beat him to the line by a scant 4 seconds, and so Dan Martin moved up into second place. Martin also last year's King of the Mountain. That title this year will go to Damiano Caruso, who won the title yesterday. Obviously there's no climbs on the route today. Have a look around the stadium here, which will be packed with people later today as they watch the international friendly between Brazil and the African nation of Zambia. One half of which sits on that beautiful mouse-shaped tomb of the Victoria Falls, one of the wonders of the world. In the distance now, how the city has grown since the Olympics in 2008. It's become an economic jewel as well. And Beijing has made huge progress, one has to say, so has the prices of the products there. For the first 5 to 4 days of the race, the rides have been up in the mountains as well, where we've seen for the first time a mountain top finish. We've seen the roads brilliantly closed by the police, for clear safety of the riders, and we've seen a very good bicycle race. Tour of Beijing in its 3rd year now, and becoming a regular on the World Tour circuit as the grand finale. The only winner of this race until today Tony Martin, the German rider and the world time trial champion. He's in the race and he's had a couple of goes to try and win for a third year in a row, but has not been successful. It looks now destined for the Spaniard. Still a lot of work being done by team riders on Française des Jeux because they're concerned by the breakaway. They need to keep it in their sights. Marco Pinotti driving at the front at the moment. The back is Kaizen. In second place is Fletcher. Two riders who by the end of the day will have retired from professional cycling. In the case of the red jersey Pinotti, he will stay with his team BMC, which is an American setup, and join their technical staff. So he'll pass on all the experience gained to the younger riders on the squad from next season. So continue on now. Just sat at the back there, Chad Beyer, number 198. We saw him in action in the mountains on day 2. He climbed up to second overall in the King of the Mountains competition. And he's still in the top 3 at the moment. He's finished in the top 3. There's a chance to have a look around the Chinese garden here, which is quite a feature of the Olympic Games back in 2008. The riders slip through on the far side. The peloton just being drawn out in a long, thin line at the front. The average speed drops slightly. It's now 49 kilometers an hour average, but still very, very quick, and much quicker than the organisers have expected. The riders running about 20 minutes ahead of the schedule that they were expected to arrive in. FDJ. The only reason they've got a man at the front is for Bohani, to keep him in touch with that breakaway. Normally you would only see the teammates of the race leader setting the pace. A slight slowing of the peloton perhaps, because a few riders trying to move up the pack. This has been a situation all day where the gap has slowly stretched for these riders. They've been away virtually from the gun. It looks to me as though we're seeing about 1:05. Very difficult for me to read that board in the sun, but it looks like 1 minute and 5 seconds. As we again go around the Chinese Ethnic Culture Park here. This is a little oasis in the centre of a very, very busy city, and remains largely untouched since the Olympic Games, and a very popular place to spend an afternoon walking around. You can even fish in the lake in the centre as well. As the cars hustle and bustle in both directions, and members of the Chinese television crew who assist us with this coverage were telling me that they actually go to work by bicycle because it's the fastest way. Past the 2 kilometre marker to complete the lap as they continue round again. These boys are still working well together. Passing through the picture there, Christian Meyer, the Canadian rider on the Australian Orica Green Edge team, takes his place at the back, but basically all these riders working together. This big, steady, hard-working man here from Belgium, Oliver Kaizen. Powerful rider he is, almost pulled it off on the second day. And in contrast, you've got the diminutive climber there in Manuela Burro, Saxo Tinkoff. And this is Christian Meyer. Comes from Vancouver, scene of the last Winter Olympics. Now he's racing around in a former Summer Olympic city. Burro giving his little assistance to the pace now. Marco Pantani following through. I just wonder what Pantani is thinking, knowing that he'll never do this again as his long career comes to an end. And it looks as though Elia Viviani has asked for a teammate to go to the front and assist in the chase here, because Cannondale have come up. Not surprisingly, so too has Katusha, because they've also got a very good sprinter on the team, and clearly they're getting concerned by this breakaway as they continue to take out the small time bonuses away from the race. You can see them in the distance. They're actually quite a long way. They're just arriving at the kilometre point, so that's approximately 700 to 800 metres between the two groups now. And still red jerseys of Katusha moving to the front. Well, Movistar will be quite happy to see the sprinters teams move in on this, and relieve them of their duty to set the pace for the race leader. 200 metres to go as they come through. Fletcher working very hard, 3 laps left to go. Still a requirement of 52 seconds is the gap at this point. The most they've had just on 1.5 minutes, and Team Katusha now continues to ride hard at the front. They try to put their sprinter Sacevic in the thick of things again. He's been very close in the flat sprints to victory. Argus Shimano in the white also assisting in the chase. Luka Mecic is their sprinter who hasn't won a major cycle race yet, but has been very, very close all year. Just catching a glimpse at the back there in that polka dot red polka dot jersey there. Damiano Caruso. Day off for him today, but he has to finish the Tour, of course, to claim the King of the Mountains title. But he sat near the back of the field and quite happy to do so. He won his title yesterday and didn't even need the 12 points available on the last climb because he got enough and dropped off. Free to go. Riders go through a long thin line, pace really on. Sprint that lap, but it was the final sprint for the race out on course, and it was Fletcher who got the small 3-second bonus, but for a man who is 1 minute and 16 seconds behind overall, it's not going to help him a great deal now. Nonetheless, Fletcher showing us he's leaving his sport at the very top in excellent form and fine physical condition to be able to ride off the front today. Now the sun on the right shoulders of the riders as it starts to drop behind the water cube. Mid to late afternoon now in Beijing as the riders continue to chase on here. Johan Lebon is the rider who's decided to just swing off and make room for his teammate with a different coloured jersey because Jussi Väikkönen is the champion of Finland. He's now going through. And anxious to help him out, the Australian rider Cameron Worth in that lime green jersey for Cannondale. He's the man they've sent up to try and set the pace in favour of Elia Viviani. Very typical of the teams to ride like this and keep the pressure on as best they can. Katusha also willing to race at the top as well. Mikhail Ignatiev moved to the fore there as we go up to the leaders. There is Nasser Bohani, just keeping an eye on who's doing what. Very confident, this man, since he's won 2 stages, and that's giving him the confidence. And he's been saying for the last couple of days that this is a stage for him, and he wants to become the first cyclist in the Tour of Beijing over the 3 editions to win 3 stages. 3 riders have won 2. Michael Rogers in the blue on the left there, also beginning to make a little bit of progress here. Johan Lebon in the blue jersey. As we look down the riders here, the world champion Rui Costa just off to the left of our picture. He's had a very good race here. He only won his world title 2 weeks ago. This is the first stage race he's ridden since. And although he hasn't won anything yet, he's going to finish this race in 4th place overall. That's a very good performance, especially as his teammate is winning it. Going through then, Olivier Geisen, followed by Manuela Burro, then Marco Pinotti, followed by Juan Antonio Fletcher, and tagged on the back for the moment is Christian Meyer, the Canadian from Vancouver. The gap is continuing to come down now. It was 52 seconds when they went through, but it is now starting to drop. And the chase is really on now. A number of teams have thrown riders into the pursuit. This is near the back of the race, and that's Luke Delbridge there on the left of our picture, champion of Australia. 97 is Zhu Gong, 29-year-old Chinese rider on Champion System. Sadly, Champion System are teaming up with the World Tour team next year, so they're losing the sole sponsorship of the Champion System team, and the rider's still in negotiation for another sponsor. Once again into the view of the stadium, making preparations for the football match later. Big day for sport. There's also a major basketball game taking place between 2 top American teams here in a demonstration match. The peloton has concertina a little bit. Pressure may have just eased up slightly as they go around the back of the stadium to make their turn up towards the finishing straight. There's the left turn. This will be a crucial turn when it comes to the final sprint. And a number of teams there, but a lot of white jerseys up there. One of those white jerseys is Rui Costa, but the others are all Argus Shimano. And this is the way up towards the finishing straight as our helicopter comes over the top of the stadium to find the leaders again. In fact, we're finding the whole peloton now in a long, thin line, becoming extremely angry as they pick up the pace. As time check received, it's down to 40 seconds. So I can't see that breakaway succeeding now, and the peloton can't allow it to run much longer because the sprinters will want to be getting in position for the last lap of the race. FDJ back on the front again. It seems their strongman today is Le Bon. Then Vaikkonen, also a team man, don't forget, of Team FDJ. Cameron Worth, and just behind Worth there, we've got the Katusha rider, Ignatieff. A little bit of movement there by the riders from Cannondale in lime green. Well, they're bringing forward Elia Viviani. Still a bit early to place the riders too near the front. And just panning around there, just looking for the green jersey of Nasser Bouhanni. I think he's tucked in on the far side. He's obscured by a number of riders on the other side of the road just for a moment. Little flick of the elbow from Vaikkonen. That's always the international signal for somebody else to come through and start setting the pace. In this case, Cameron Worth. These boys know that the peloton is chasing flat out now. Christian Meyer just straining to see. Well, they're going to know exactly the time gap now. I'm not sure whether we'll find it out, but they certainly will. And it can't be more than 40 seconds. That's the message we're getting. Oh, it's even less. It's 27 seconds now, so it's coming down quite rapidly. It was 52 as they went out on the start of the lap. Now it's 27. So the catch is going to be perfectly timed, as always, by these professional riders. Oliver Kaizen, the winner of only one bicycle race, is a professional, but a very strong team player on the Lotto Belisol team, as we've seen all week. He was in the long breakaway on day 2, and now here he is again on day 5. This 5-day race bringing to an end the World Tour Series, which will be won by Joaquim Rodriguez, the Spanish cyclist who won the recent Tour of Lombardy and took over the lead in the World Tour from the Tour de France winner Chris Froome. But they will finish top 2, neither racing here, and their points scored too much for anybody to reach. Dan Martin is the highest placed in the World Tour in this competition today. Fletcher, another man wondering, reflecting on an incredible career, especially in the Spring Classics, where he twice podiumed in the hardest classic of them all, Paris-Roubaix, which goes over broken stones and has something like 55 kilometers of cobbled roads, very ancient roads. Finishes on a concrete stadium in Roubaix on the velodrome. Very few Spanish riders successful in that event, and Fletcher podium twice. They're still all working pretty well together, even though they know that it's probably going to be a fruitless attack now. You can see the finishing line. They'll be looking for the board again. Still prepared to drive on. Meyer looks very cool, calm and collected and concentrating. Notty, remember they broke away soon after the flag went down for the start in Tiananmen Square, and then it was a 21-kilometer race onto the circuit. A nice little smile from Marco Panotti. He knows he won't be doing this anymore. And here is the group coming up behind them now. gap is officially 26 seconds as they cross the line with 2 laps to go. Big decisions to be made now. They don't want to leave these riders out much longer. 26 seconds is still quite a gap. Under 16 kilometers from the finish. And just proving me right, 15 kilometers to go there. It's been a very much a routine day thus far for the overall leader of the race in Southsea. And by the way, there's an international rule. Once he gets into the last 3 kilometers, if he has a crash or a flat tire or mechanical failure, he would still win the race, because although he would lose time, he wouldn't officially lose any time at all. It's a precautionary rule which came in the 60s simply because a sprint is very dangerous, and if it was to take out the race leader on the last day, then it would seem a little unfair. So if he gets to the last 3 kilometers with the leaders of the day, he'll win the race. So then he can breathe a sigh of relief. But of course, if he is dropped because of the pressure of the race, then that's a different story. He would not. He would lose time and he would lose the race. So he's got to be conscious of that. He's got to stay safe. A few more kilometers yet. The peloton, you can see how quick they're racing along the boulevard here, and go right to the top of the picture. You will see the breakaway, so they can see them too as they're going out on this penultimate lap. They look quite lonely down there right now on a 5-lane boulevard here, normally full of cars, completely closed for the grand finale of the Tour of Beijing for a 3rd year. Kaizen doing a lot of work in this front group as he leads them around there. This is near the back of the peloton just at the moment. Top end of the turning around the circuit here. The gap has come down, but it's now about 20 seconds. They haven't come down that quickly. They're still going to be away as they enter the last lap, I think, and now they started attacking each other. This is the Canadian Meyer from Orica, who's now putting a move in. It doesn't look to me as though Fletcher and Pinotti are allowing him to go here, because they're still chasing him. You can see the peloton in the background, about 20 seconds that gap, I would think. Pinotti's taken a look over his shoulder and he's seen them coming, but they're still getting on. We're trying to bring back Christian Meyer here. It's a good effort. Well, Orica Green Edge, every reason to show the colours today. This Australian team in its 2nd year, and the owner of the team in town today, flying in from Australia yesterday, Jerry Ryan, whose one ambition was to see an all-Australian team ride the Tour de France, and he achieved that last year, and this year they had great success. They had the lead for 4 days on the team. And watching here, Christian Meyer, he's not going to ease up, but those boys are not going to stop chasing him either, because they're still coming for him. Kaizen's on the front now. The peloton holding at about 20 seconds. A pursuit right across the centre of the Olympic Park, in the centre of the city of Beijing, the last day of the World Tour. Skyscrapers and high-rise flats all around them, and still Meyer pushes on. He's a very popular rider back home in Canada, has a big following. 21 seconds, they're not really getting any closer just now. The arrowhead has formed at the front, the workhorses of Argus Shimano now driving on. Movistar are still up there, but they'll be looking to keep their red jersey safe and sound like the Queen Bee is right now. Little bit of a push by Lampre on the left. Their big sprinter is Roberto Ferrari, who's come close but hasn't quite got to the finish line first yet. Well, this has been an amazing attack by Meyer, because the chasers have never let him go and they're still running him down. He just checked them out again. Very strong piece of cycling, because they're struggling to get back up to him. Kaizen's still on the front, and if anything, they're pulling away very slightly on the field, still around 21-22 seconds. Meyer keeps looking at them, wondering why they're not catching him, but he's not slowing down for them, that's for sure. Round the back of the stadium here. As sport abounds here on a Tuesday in Beijing. The peloton still trying to make a determined effort to close down this gap. And as you can see, it's still around 20 seconds. Meyer is still holding them off. They've gone to the other side of the road now as Juan Antonio Fletcher drives on the front. Well, I've never quite seen a breakaway do this, as they have split up but gone nowhere. And in the background now, if anything, that's slightly closer, I would suggest. Well, the peloton and the breakaway are racing to the bell lap, the finish of the race, and they still have not caught up with these riders. Still on the front is Cannondale, trying desperately to now bring them back. 18 seconds. It's painful to watch as they just chip a second away every kilometre. Checking down from the helicopter here. Well, the boys in pink are ready. Their man is Roberto Ferrari. And at last it's Oliver Kaizen who finishes off Christian Meyer, all five together again, and not very far from the finishing line. As they turn into the home straight, still got control at the front, Argus Shimano and the Movistar squad. Quite a few of the teammates of Movistar now simply ganging up around their team leader to protect him in case for any reason the peloton implodes. Keep him safe. He's not interested in winning the stage. He's done all the winning he needs to do yesterday on the mountain itself. 16 seconds. Pinotti has taken a look again and I think is losing interest up here. Fletcher isn't though, the other retiree by the end of this race. He's driving on. Burrow chases him. Meyer still full of fight. Burrow comes through. They've just about come round that corner now. There they are. And interesting to see the boys in blue now, the teammates of Nasser Bouhanni, have all gone to the front. Bouhanni, taking a drink there, knows that very shortly all of the responsibility of the day will fall on him for his team to win his third stage. He's in a good position and he's got plenty of lead out men in front of him. Pinotti bringing them through. It's been a long breakaway for these riders. They've been in the lead for 108 kilometres. Big turn this by Marco Pinotti, time trial champion of Italy. Stage winner in the Giro d'Italia, will be one of his finest victories he had. But he won 2 stages in the Giro d'Italia and he managed to lead his home tour on 5 occasions. 500 metres to go for him and about 700 for the peloton, so they're virtually on them. But boy, they've left it late this time for the sprinters, I must say. Maybe 10 seconds that gap as they start to come up towards the bell. And the final lap starts now, 1 to go. The bell is ringing, I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm having a little bit of a problem. And we'll see how the gaps go. They've been racing 2¼ hours. Watch the clock here, they hit the line, about 10 seconds the gap. Well, that's closable, but it's still a distraction, and that can cause a little bit of confusion for the teams, but they've got to bring back. And there's Pinotti on the left of the road. Well, he sat up and allowed the 4 riders to go forward. He's decided to do the last lap in the comparatively comfortable seat in the house, in the pack itself. With his bonuses taken so far, he's climbed up to 14th overall in the race. After that breakaway and the small time bonuses, you've got 4 seconds in time bonuses on the course today. Well, there's going to be a lot of assessment being done by the sprinters and the teams of the sprinters down there now. These 4 riders will still nurture a little hope they might just hang on. Oliver Kaizen thinks so as he keeps going. Look at the face on Burrow, who's just gone to the back with a grimace. Now reaching for something in his pocket. An attack here. It's come again from Meyer. Meyer's decided one last chance and he's taking it. The peloton well up on the right of the road. Christian Meyer, the Canadian Orica, has started again. This time a quick reaction coming though from Juan Antonio Fletcher. Well, Fletcher's had a double take now. I think he's just realised that Marco Panotti is no longer with them and dropped back to the pack. Meyer, Kaizen, Fletcher and Burrow are the order here. It looks as though the white flag is going out. About a 200-metre gap between them. About 5 or 6 kilometres at the most to the finishing line, maybe slightly less. Kaizen leads them around the corner. Takes the opportunity to glance across the barriers. You'll see the riders now because they're very, very close indeed. There they are, coming off that same corner and lining up, but they are leaving the catch late today. It's going to make a difficult sprint for the sprinters to organise themselves as we start to run out of road, as we continue what has been 12 laps of the Olympic Park. And it looks as though we've now got Movistar all at the front, and they've put their red jersey leader in 4th place. If you've got the strength, the safest place to be in the big peloton, which is now only 7 seconds behind. Omega Pharma Quickstep, the light blue jerseys on the left of the road, carry 2 good sprinters this week in Alessandro Patacchi and Mace, Nicholas Mace. Both of those riders capable of winning if it all works out for them, and they've got the whole pack, or all of their team, on the front anyway. Also seeing slipping up there now. Watch out for the green jersey and see where he places himself. I don't see him at all just now. And this could be a very interesting sprint, but it looks as though Patacchi has got his boys in blue organised just now. When Alessandro Patacchi used to be on the Fassa Bortolo, a team which is no longer in the professional cycling, we used to call him the Silver Bullet when he got the train because they rode in silver colours. They've got the pace going now. It's all about the sprint finish now. And the placing of the men who can lift the speed up to 70 kilometres an hour in that last 300 metres of racing. They've got to judge it, as always, to perfection. If they go too soon, their energy leaves them before the finishing line. There's always plenty of volunteers to take over from them. 4 kilometres out from the finish. We all came together at 5 kilometres, and now an attack by Tony Martin here, the only rider to have won at the Tour of Beijing in the 2 editions so far, the defending champion. He only needs a lead of 14 seconds to win this race again, and they're going to have to chase him, and this surely is going to bring out Team Movistar, because this is a dangerous move. It's a last gasp chance by Tony Martin, the world time trial champion. If he can break the elastic of the chase behind, he will settle down into his rhythm, and then he's almost impossible to catch. He soloed to a 40-second lead off the front of the race last year into Mentogo, and that was enough to give him victory in the race a year ago. And he's trying again. He will not lay down. But I think this time he is being brought to heel by the team from Cannondale at 3 kilometres. He attacked at 4. He started to go clear, but I think this time they've got him. And there's no sign at all. The red jersey of Nasser Bouhanni, of the green jersey rather, of Bouhanni. And after that great chase, which almost brought back Tony Martin, the rider who did it swung off and gone to the back of the field, leaving his teammates now. They're still looking for Elia Viviani to try and finish it off for them. Green jerseys of Garmin Sharp finishing second overall with Dan Martin. We're inside 3 kilometres now, so we can safely say that the winner will be Nzausti. If he were to fall now, he will be given the same time, so he's safe. He's the red jersey on the left. He's now feeling the winner of the Tour of Beijing for 2013. And there's the green jersey, centre right of our picture now. He's got one teammate left. He looks like the big figure of Dominique Roland, the man that led him out successfully on day 3 to a stage victory up in the mountains. 2 kilometres to go. Lampre still looking around where they're saying is Roberto Ferrari, and I don't see him at the moment, so he's stopped racing at the front. as now it's Viviani's squad who are starting to warm the race up from the front, followed by August Shimano, who's still trying to get their sprinter Luka Mecic over the line in first place, which he hasn't done this year, but he's podiumed more times than I'd care to count. It's not a well-organised chase, this. There's different teams popping up and dropping back, but August Shimano seem to have done it well just now. 4 of them are here. Mecic is one of them in a perfect position. Buani again, although he's tucked in behind one teammate, he hasn't got the same team working for him he had earlier. If you look down that line now, his green jersey is not that prominent just at the moment. He's leaving himself a lot of work to do if he wants to win the stage. Mecic in a much stronger position just now. We're looking for the 1 kilometre to go. The final big turn, a big effort being made to bring the green jersey up, and here he comes. He's got 2 riders to tow him towards the front. They'll peel off and leave him. And Mecic is just behind in the white jersey, so the 2 top sprinters are going shoulder to shoulder here as they're looking for the last kilometre. As they start now to clash here, it's Dominic Roland trying to take the green jersey forward, but the race has started to go on the left with Mecic in a perfect position as well. Française des Jeux versus Arga Shimano. Ferrari in the pink trying to get in. He's bumping shoulders here with the green jersey of Buani, and Buani's fighting for the back wheel of Mecic. And I'm not sure who won that one because they almost all fell off. As Wesley Sulzberger is coming up, Orica Greenedge making a move on the left, taking the race across to our left of the road now, their right, and he's hit the front, Sulzberger, but he's looking a little bit laboured, and the move is coming now from Buani, but he may have gone too soon. Mecic is after him. Mecic has got into his slipstream at 100 metres, breaks to our right as he goes shoulder to. I think Mecic's got this one. As he hits the line, he gets his first World Tour victory, and he gets the monkey off his back. 3 third places in the Giro d'Italia. He's now finally got a big win on a World Tour team in a World Tour race, and that will be very, very special for the man from Slovenia. He'd be totally delighted with that result. Top sprinter Ferrari congratulating him there, but this will be very, very special for him. Came close and he was beaten by Buani earlier on in this race, but this time Buani was forced to lead out a little bit too soon from the line, and as the line approached, so his legs started to depart. They certainly didn't depart on the other side of the road, because Mecic here got stronger and stronger, winning by a length and a half in the end. That's a big gap over a sprinter like Nasser Buani. The riders also in the frame was Moreno Hopfland, getting a very, very good result on the left there for Belkin, a man to mark down for the future. He's only a young man. No doubt who the delighted one was, though, at last. And he's chosen the last day of the season to get the big win. And he gets it ahead of Buani, Hofland, Breschel, Roberto Ferrari 5th, and Zacevic in 6th.
You keep trying hard and good things finally happen.
Yeah, that's true. I was waiting really long time for this, and today I succeed.
Nearly pulled off a victory in the opening stage, so anxious throughout the week to try and get a win?
Yeah, sure. The first stage I was really close, so I knew I can win here, and today it happens. On the last day of the season and on the World Tour, which is a really big success for me.
First World Tour win for you, and great for the team too. You've had a fantastic year.
Yeah, that's true. Really, all the guys were working hard, and we got nice results with Marcel Kittel and John Degenkolb, also with Warren. So it's really nice that I can finish it in a good way.
Well, one thing's for sure, he's certainly earned his holiday. There's the overall result of the Tour of Beijing, and it's Instausti the winner by 10 seconds over Dan Martin, 13 over Lopez, and 18 over the world champion and teammate Rui Costa. Let's hear from him.
Bueno, sobre todo muy contento, ¿no? De todo el año, y sobre todo pues ponerle un final así al equipo, y para mí pues bueno, yo creo que es una victoria muy bonita, ¿no? Terminar así el año.
Ayer mencionaste a tu amigo Xavi. ¿Hay alguna razón, un comentario que quieres dar especial?
No, bueno, un recuerdo para él, y bueno, ayer ya dije para el equipo también, dar las gracias por el trabajo que han hecho y bueno, luego felicitar a toda la gente que me apoya.
So the Basque cyclist from northern Spain with his film star looks can now look forward to receiving a red jersey. But first of all, let's see the man who won the stage here, Luka Mecic from Slovenia, receiving the stage laurels for the first time this year. He's won races before, but this is his first season on a World Tour team, and he must have thought it was never going to happen, but it has. And so too has this, a red jersey going to Benoit Southsea, and completing what for him is his best season. Also wore the pink leader's jersey for a day in the Giro d'Italia, a race in which he also won a stage too. So he's had a great season, and for Movistar, he's brought them an outstanding World Tour victory here in the centre of the city of Beijing. And so we look now at the rankings in the points for that green jersey. Alobu Arni was beaten. He kept his lead in that jersey, 52 points, well clear of Mecic, who came up into second place with the retirement yesterday of Michael Matthews. Arni looking a little bit pensive. Perhaps he's disappointed he didn't win the stage, but he's had a great week, 2 stage wins, and of course he's won the green jersey. In the polka dot jersey, this was decided yesterday and was won by Damiano Caruso, 49 points ahead of Sulzberger, and so he was able to ride around today in the polka dot jersey, knowing he was confirmed as the winner of the King of the Mountains. Having a look now at the young rider ranking, and we're looking at Romain Bardet, who finished the race in 7th place and best of the youngsters. He's only 22. He's 23 next month, actually, and a real star for France for the future, the highest placed Frenchman in the race to finish as well. And I think we'll see an awful lot of this man in 2014. No prize for the Panda, but he made sure he got in our camera lens as he came on stage to watch all of the premier winners of this year's Tour of Beijing. Salute the crowd. In second place, Dan Martin, and in third place was David Lopez of Sky, the rider in black, who was a teammate last year of In Southsea. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage of the 3rd Tour of Beijing, and until the next time, I'm Phil Liggett saying so long.